Well, it's Thursday, so you know what that means. It's Q&A time, sports style, here on the Schleg Daddy TV channel. I'm just now realizing that this shirt looks all types of funkadelic on the camera, but I'm not going to change my shirt or re-record this. So let's get started with this Q&A. Reminder that if you want your questions answered, I do these Q&As about sports every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on this channel. Information on how to have your questions submitted will be in the description box, or I could just tell you now. Tell you go to Twitter, tweet your questions to @pfspot_Schlegel. And the best questions get answered in the Q&As. That's simple. All right, so let's get started here. Devon Throw asks, if you were to own the Raiders, what would you do to turn around the team? You have to start off at the top. You would have to probably get rid of Reggie McKenzie. I'm sorry, I'm not buying his long-term vision. I'm not with it. Um, I'd probably remove Dennis Allen as head coach, but go and find somebody, try to make a big splashy move and sit there and say that this is going to be our coach for the next several seasons. Then I would focus on slowly rebuilding that organization, starting at the quarterback position and working your way from there. It's going to take several years through the draft. Doing all the stopgap stuff in free agency is not going to get the job done. And then once you find those stud players, you make sure you keep them long term. At Ilias99, where did you have Cassius Marsh, the defensive end for Seattle, ranked before the draft? And did Seattle get another steal by drafting him in the fourth? Honestly, I think I had him as like a sixth or seventh round prospect. I wasn't as high on him as others. I know he had some character concerns. For their system, he works great, and he could be a potential steal in the fourth round. I just don't know how much you'll see out of him in 2014 on what is still a very deep and loaded defensive unit at all three levels. At Ray H. Designs asked, the Tampa Bay Rays have been doing well lately. Do they even have a slight chance at a wild card or even the AL East? At this point in time, I would probably say that the distance might be too great in the AL East, although I wouldn't totally rule that out. Anything is possible. The Rays have that ability to get hot, string together some solid weeks, and maybe get themselves back into the race. I do think a wild card spot at this point in time is very reasonable as a goal. I think that's something that they can definitely achieve. They're going to have to continue to play well. They're going to have to do that for a sustained period of time, but I think there's a chance, absolutely. At Creeditch asks, can the three receivers drafted by Green Bay, Devontae Adams, Jared Abbrederis, and Jeff Janis, be as good as Driver, Jones, and Jennings were? Let's pump the brakes here. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Do I think Devontae Adams could at least be as good as James Jones was? Yes, I do. Do I like Abbrederis and his fit for that scheme in Green Bay? Yes, I do. I also think Janis could potentially down the road be a fit and a player in that scheme. I like Abbrederis. I really like Adams for what they do. I just wouldn't go that far yet, brother. At Nick Cool 123, can Tony Romo and Jason Garrett survive another year together? If by survive you mean make it all the way through the 2014 season together, then yes, I do believe they will. I do not anticipate it being a good year for the Dallas Cowboys, but I also don't envision Jerry Jones pulling the trigger on letting Jason Garrett go until the end of the season. I mean, he's already went with them. He's got lame duck status. He might as well sit there and ride it out with them. So I think they will survive another year together, but that's not necessarily an indication of success. I think the Cowboys, after several years of toiling and mediocrity, at some point in time, you either have to go in one or two directions. You can't stay in mediocrity forever. You either sit there and make a big jump up or a big drop down. And I envision more of a big drop down for the Cowboys this year, which I'll be talking about starting August 1st in my 2014 NFL season previews, where I'll be looking at every single team and giving you my outlook for them heading into this 2014 season. So keep that in mind starting August 1st. And I'll be starting off with the NFC East. It'll go NFC East, NFC North, NFC South, NFC West, then AFC North, AFC North, AFC South, AFC West. I think I'm going to upload 2 videos a day, so that way it doesn't span the entire month. So it'll be, 2 for the 1st through the 16th. I think that's the way I'm going to do it. At Real Benzillion, do you think that Elfrid Payton becomes a top point guard in the NBA? Define top. Top 5? I don't know about that. Top 10, maybe. And like I said, it kind of depends on what you're defining as a top point guard. Do I see him at this moment as an elite point guard in the NBA for years to come? No, I do not. Could I be wrong? Oh, absolutely. I don't. I don't say that I won't be wrong. It's just I don't see it. Also, do you think that the Wizards can get Kevin Durant in 2016? Oh my Christ. I'm getting so tired of this crap from the sports media. It's 2 freaking years away. Let Kevin Durant be. Let Kevin Durant play. You know, it if the Thunder don't win a championship sometime in the next 2 seasons, do I think that's very possible? Yes. On the other hand, they've already got Beal there. They've already got Wall there. You've got Gortat signed long term. You'd have to do some work with that roster to be able to get a Kevin Durant either via free agency or trade in order to bring him in 2016, like a sign and trade deal. I mean, I think they could do it, but I really don't want to see it. I'd like to say Kevin Durant will continue to stay with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that organization is identified by Kevin Durant, and I think he's perfectly suited there. But you never know. That temptation of playing in your hometown area could get very strong for a Kevin Durant. It's possible. At Cool Nerds asks, what's your thoughts on Stephen A. Smith getting suspended from ESPN for his remarks on domestic violence? I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I really don't have any thoughts. And the reason being is, as much as possible, I try to not concern myself with whatever Stephen A. Smith says or what a lot of what ESPN actually says. So I don't even know if I've actually seen or heard the comments, let alone in their entirety, to be able to get proper and full context to where I could actually give an opinion on it. I'm just going to say that. I don't really know what he said. And maybe that's to my benefit, means I'm not paying attention to him or ESPN. But I really don't have any thoughts or comments because I don't know exactly what his remarks were. And I'll probably keep it that way. Ed Van Raleigh asked, which is the greatest professional team from any sport that you have ever seen? NBA-wise, I would have to go with the 95-96 Bulls. Greatest Major League Baseball team that I've ever seen would have to be the 1998 Yankees. Greatest football team that I've ever seen would probably be the 85 Bears. Greatest team from any sport that I've seen, though, has to be the 92 Dream Team, and it's not even close. That was a phenomenon. That was a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. I mean, you look at the fact that they had 11 Hall of Famers and Christian Laettner on their team. That team was deep. That team was loaded. That team was dominant. And it would kick the shit out of any other American Olympic team that's come afterwards, any other international team that comes afterwards. The best, most dominant team, most impressive team that I've ever seen was that 1992 U.S. Olympic Dream Team, period. Mark Lioness Jr. Is it a shame that the NBA puts a storyline over a championship by having the season opener of Cleveland versus San Antonio in Cleveland? No, I don't really get what you mean by saying a storyline over a championship, because if you would have opened with Miami and San Antonio, wouldn't that be a storyline too? I'm not trying to be a smartass here, but isn't that a storyline too? You know, the Heat lost in the NBA Finals. The Spurs won in the NBA Finals. Seems to be quite a bit of a storyline there. There'll also be the storyline of how are the Heat going to look and respond after losing LeBron James in free agency. So there's a ton of story there too. So I have no problems with them going with Cleveland versus San Antonio for the season opener. This is exactly what the hell I would do. LeBron in his first game back home in Cleveland facing the defending NBA champions. That's got ratings bonanza written all over it. Hell fucking yes, I'm starting off with that shit. And I guarantee if you were in that position, that is what you would choose too, if you had good business sense. At Geist26 asks, how many Super Bowls do you think Andrew Luck will win in his career? How many Super Bowls will Andrew Luck win in his career? I think the over-under is 2. I think he'll win at least 1. And I'd feel relatively confident that he might win 2. I don't know if he win 3 or 4, but I would go with 2. I think 2 is a nice, solid number. And I think with the good infrastructure, the good organization there in Indianapolis, the quality of play that comes from an Andrew Luck, the fact that he's only going to hopefully get better over the years, I think he could win 2 championships. I really do. At James_Izzy15 asks, do you think that Kobe Bryant will have an average comeback season? Yes. And here's my rationale or reasoning for it before the Kobe lovers get all pissed at me. Wing players usually start to see significant decline beginning with their age 35 season. This is statistical, well documented fact. Even Jordan, the greatest of all time, and most certainly the greatest wing player and two guard of all time, even his skills started to decline and his production started to decline at least a little bit at his age 35 season. That's part of what made his age 35 season, that 97-98 season, so spectacular was the fact that he was still doing what he was doing. He was still the best player in the NBA at 35 years of age as a wing player. Um, you're talking about a Kobe that's missed a season plus of basketball, coming off of two major injuries, over 35 years of age, a lot of mileage on his NBA body. Oh, I think Kobe's due for a big decline compared to his previous performance and numbers, unless he just jacks up an otherworldly amount of shots, which is possible when we're talking about Kobe. Oh, but I think he's going to have a bad comeback season. I do. I mean, will he average over 20 points a game? Probably. But it's going to have to come in bits and spurts. Like I said, talking about injuries to Achilles and knees and the mileage on his body over the years, not only the seasons, but all the postseasons he's played in over the years, the international plays done over the years. It's a lot of mileage on his body. And how old is Kobe Bryant now? 36? Yeah, history indicates that Kobe's not going to be the same player ever again, period. And at JH Mills 22 closes out this Q&A with, what is your opinion of the new college football season? I pretty much say anything has to be better than the bull crap system. I've wanted a playoff for a long time. Finally going to get a playoff. Anything to me that involves a playoff of some kind is better off than the system from before. Now, do I still think that they're going to find every way possible to cram all the big schools in there and leave some of the mid-majors out? Oh, absolutely. Are they going to find a way, if they can possibly do it, to put two SEC teams in there at some point in time, whether that comes from expansion of the playoffs or what have you? Oh, absolutely. I mean, but it will still be a better, more effective way of determining a true national champion, which is something that I've been in favor of for a long, long time. So thanks to all of you that submitted your questions for this Q&A. Remember, again, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, these Q&A sports editions happen here on the Schleg Daddy TV channel. You want to have your questions answered, just go to Twitter, tweet your questions to @pfspot_Schlegel. I'll make sure next time I don't wear this shirt. Yeah. Okay, bye.